Hey there, and welcome to another OnSign TV Academy video. So, we learned already a lot about content, right? We learned how to create complex applications using data feeds. We learned about how to create simpler apps like weather applications. Learn how to create campaigns after uploading your files, your images, your videos. So now what we want to do is actually create playlists. So to do that, we're going to click up here in New. We're going to click here in Playlist. And we're going to be having three main sections. Well, this first one is where we're going to be, give it a name to this playlist. This is where we can tag the playlist, choose a category for that, change the default duration for each of the contents that don't have a actual duration, like images, like applications. We could be including it already in a folder or even changing the playback mode. We're going to be talking about this a little bit later, okay? So let's first create a name for this playlist. So let's just call it playlist demo, okay? Right, so this is the first section. The second section is this main one here, which we can see the folders, all the medias that we have uploaded to OnSign TV. So in order to access a folder, we can simply double click and see what's in there. Well, we're just going to be using the contents that we have here in the raw file. And on the right here is the actual playlist structure. So to add content into that playlist, let's drag in the first campaign that we created, the campaign demo. Well, the second thing we're going to be adding is simply this image. We could be also adding this video, and let's drag in the menu board that we created as well. And let's also add the weather app. Okay, so we have a couple of different contents here. As you can see, they have a little bit different color here, right? So the applications, they are purple, right? And they are exhibited like this. The campaigns, they have this blue bar up here. This is another application. So here we have an image, and here we have a video. The video is orange. All right. So for each one of these contents, we could be obviously reorganizing them as we want. We could be clicking here to distribute by category. And for each one of these assets that we include in the playlist, we're going to be having a default duration. So the campaign, when we are creating a campaign, we choose a duration for that, right? So this default duration up here would be only working for contents that don't have a duration. So the only items that we have here that have a duration is the campaign and the video. Well, the app, the other app, and the image actually don't, right? So let's say that this image here should be 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds as we have here in the default duration. So we could click here on edit configuration, and we could be changing the duration from here, simply adding here 20. Also, when on this page, we could be adding a transition to that specific asset. We could be doing the same thing for apps. So we click here in edit configuration, we could change the duration and also add a transition to it. The other button that we have here is the pause content button. So it's going to be grayed out. The other button that we have is edit restrictions. So when we click on it, it's going to open this page for us. And here we can choose how we want to play back that content. So play only when or don't play when. So when clicking on play only when, we can add a restriction. And on this restriction, we could be clicking here and during a period of time, select the days of the week where we want that content to be played back, when it's going to start, let's say today, or actually, let's say tomorrow, because if we want it today, we could be simply selecting here, right? And we could be also choosing when it's going to end. Also, we could be setting a time interval for that playback. Down here, we can see that we have the option to play this content only when the player has a specific tags, right? So we could be selecting tags here according to the tags we have already added to the players. And down here, we could be selecting play inside any of these locations. So we could choose geographic locations that we have already created before. On the next videos, we're going to be talking about this geographic regions. And I'm going to be explaining to you a little bit more about this section specifically. So in this case, I'm just going to keep it and always play regardless of player tags and regardless of player location. Okay, so no restrictions at all for this guy. I'm just showing you guys how to add restrictions to that content. Okay, and we could be doing the same thing for the other assets, right? The third button is the one I already showed you, edit configurations. We could be duplicating this item. Okay, we could be also moving this item using this button or removing this item from here. Well, when editing configurations on videos, for example, we also have that volume options that we could see on the timeline in campaigns, that we could be reducing the volume of other audios we have on that playback. Okay, well, after we're good with the campaign, we could be clicking here in save, and that campaign will be saved, right? However, there's one thing more I'd like to show you. Inside playlists, we could be adding more playlists. So I already have one created here. It's called Simple Loop. So we could be including it in that in this playlist we are creating right now. So keep in mind that this is actually a timeline, right? So the playback is going to start here. It's going to play back all this playlist, play this image, this other app, this campaign, this app, and this video, and then start the playback all over again, right? There is one thing we can do in playlists, which is called cycling. So we go up here in playback mode and we click down here and cycle items, and there's the count here. So what does this count means? So if I put 2 here, the number 2, it means that every time that this playlist starts its playback, it's going to play 2 contents at a time. So let's try it again. So it's going to play this playlist, all the playlist, and then this image, and then jump to whatever I have next on the playback of my player. Okay, if I had added 3 here, it would be playing back this playlist, this image, and this application, and then jump all the other 3 items to play back whatever I have next on my main loop. Okay, next time that it starts the playback and it gets back to playing back this playlist, it is going to skip the 3 items it played back before and play the other 3 items we had there. All right, so let's try to give you an example here. Let's keep display all items. All right, and just click here in save. Okay, saved. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the simple loop playlist that we have nested here, and we're going to add a cycling to it. So as you can see, we have 6 items in this playlist, and what I want to do is add a cycling to it. So I'm going to add a cycling of 2, right? So every time that this playlist starts, it's going to play 1, play 2, and then jump to whatever I have next. Play 1, play 2, and then jump to whatever I have next. Okay, so I'm just going to save. Okay, and now I'm going to click here in content and look for the playlist we just created, which is this one, playlist demo. Okay, and now we're back to that same page before. Here it says that we have cycling of 2. So I know that every time that this playlist plays back, it's going to play 2 contents from this playlist and then play all the other contents that I have here. Next time it starts again, it's going to play the 2 other contents and then play whatever I have next here. Okay, so you could be using this for multiple purposes, but the idea here is for you to understand the concept of cycling. All right, so this is the playlist. I hope you understood how it works. Feel free to connect with our support team if you have any questions, and I hope you have enjoyed it. So see you in the next video.